Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. We are deep into the playoffs, and I tell you what, we got a lot of disagreements here. We'll talk about doing this show. But before we get started, one more time about the Washington Redskins. They're making changes. Last time I heard, Donna wasn't going to be allowed in the locker room any longer. We'll be back in a moment with that statement.
Truth to that.
Geico makes it easy to get help when I need it. With licensed agents available 24/7, it's not just easy. It's having Jerome Bettis on your flag football team easy. Go get him, Bus!
Ooh. Come on, Bus. Come on. Hey, wait. I'm gonna get the flag. I got your flag, man. I got your flag.
It's Geico Easy, with licensed agents available 24/7.
49-0.
Not always talking about other teams. Welcome to the show. I started to bring other people on, but I got the G here, and he's always keeping the cold. And I got Donna here. She's always keeping tires on people's back. And then I got Mike. Do you notice how every time he's up, he's acting like he's the professor looking at papers and stuff? Tell me what's happening with that. Let's get the playoffs right now. Let's do a little bit more about the Skins. Making a lot of changes now, guys. Up in the front office, moving people in, moving people out, but to me, they got to get in that locker room and make some changes.
Can I give you the list? And then I know Donna has a commentary on one that happened today. Can I give you the quick list?
Sure,
I'll read them as quick
Mike.
as I can. Doug Williams has now been moved to Senior Vice President of Player Development from Player Personnel. Not sure what that means. Rob Rogers is now the Senior Vice President of Player Administration, so he's going to be doing all the contracts. They say he's a hard nose. He was with Carolina for 24 years, something like that. Ron Rivera, of course, is the head coach. Jack Del Rio, I really like him a lot. Defensive coordinator. Scott Turner, you know, I was concerned last week because I thought Kevin O'Connell was going to go. So we got Scott Turner now. I mean, he's not a kid. I mean, he's got some years on him and a lot of experience. Ken Zambezi, who everybody is raving about as quarterback's coach. Jim Hostler, who's the wide receivers coach. I was really sad to see.
Are any of these return guys, or these are new guys
these
coming in?
These are all new. Most of them are
Rivera
from
is bringing these in. A lot of them probably been affiliated with him in the past.
They're all his guys. Pete Honer, who's the tight ends coach. John Matzo, offensive line coach. Steve Russ, who's linebackers coach. Chris Harris, defensive backs coach. The only returning coach is our special teams coach, Nate Kazer, and he's our special teams coordinator. He's coming back. He's the only one. Now, I'm going to ask you this question after these last two.
Well, Cal
Ryan,
Smith is the player personnel, which is the position that Doug had.
Right.
He was with the Redskins, so he is returning
So
one of the
what are you telling me? Doug is in another position now.
Development. So
Okay.
Cal is basically
and that's
over
going to
the
help develop the players. So
Yes.
no matter what the title is, it's pretty important because the players is where you're going to have to make some big changes.
And some of those bad decisions off the field, what the players have gotten into, Doug will be basically guiding them in some of those things too, as far as development of the players and everything, not only on the field but in the community. And Ron Rivera was big on that when his
the whole league needs that right now.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mike. Go ahead.
There were just two more, and then I'll ask you the important question. Ryan Vermillion was brought in as the head athletic trainer. He has lots of experience, so our head trainer is gone. And Dr. Kevin Wilk, I did a little research on him. He's highly respected. He's the medical consultant. So now you got rid of Bruce Allen, who Trent Williams did not have a particularly good relationship with. You've gotten rid of the head trainer. You've got a new head trainer, and you have a new medical consultant. Does Trent Williams come back? Or was it all about the money?
Well, I think it's going to be pertaining to his health as well. He got to see if he can come back, see if he can wear the helmet, and see if he wants to come back. I don't know, getting rid of one person means that if there was more people involved in those considerations and things with him prior to that. So now do you think that that one person being gone, I'm not going to say that it was just Allen that was the reason. There was a lot of things that was happening right there. There's a lot of things they did help Trent out with. So what you got to look at now, it looked like they're having a new beginning. I think that's what's important for this franchise. I would like to see more former players involved. I really would. Somebody like you, G, and I know you don't look forward to that or anything, but I think you need some players on there for on and off the field like Doug. You need some players that can be there, that people can get in their ear, or they can see something, or they, you need some new and some of our players out there. I think it's going to mean changes. I don't know if Trent comes back or not.
Well, yeah, Tony, and like you said, it was contract too because he wanted more guaranteed money. But like you said, they're looking at putting all the pieces in place with the coaches and the personnel first. But then next, with the draft and all of that coming up, you talked about the players making some possibly changes there. That's when the next phase will come in as far as that players and who they bring in here, the draft-wise, and plugging in some of those other positions that need to be plugged in.
And I think some of the big-name players are going to be gone. But, you made a point last week, G. I think their receiver core is here to stay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see them doing anything in terms
and
of
the
change.
defensive line.
Yeah,
those
I mean,
two right
there's
there.
certain things, there's solid aspects to the game, the way that they go out there and play. The receiving core, I really do believe they're young, they're excited, they're hungry, they want to make plays, and, they're kind of like Posse 2.0. I mean, it's very hard for me to typically say that, but these guys, they come out to play. They got playmakers. All three of them can be playmakers at any time. It's been a long time since we had that many players at that one position that can make plays from all over the field. So that's a nice thing to have in your pocket coming back for the new coach.
And, not just that for the new coach. What you can see now is they look for players to come in and play and contribute right away. Quarterbacks, receivers, or whatever. I look at Green Bay playing on Sunday, and I look at one of our former players there who has 12 sacks.
14 and a half.
14 and a half,
He had two in
three
that
that
game.
got away from him the other day.
Preston Smith.
And we let Preston Smith get away from here. That's the kind of mistakes that we have to stop. We got to fulfill what the promise is, and that means get some linebackers that can run and hit in the middle. Get some people coming off the edge. You got three big people in the middle that can make things happen on the line. You got defensive backs, and you will have to make changes. Other side of the ledger, let's be truthful. That is not the Hogs out there. And they got to do something about it. You look at all the teams in the playoffs, they won a year or so where they did nothing but draft linemen. They got to get that line strong. They got the running backs. They may not like Peterson, but right now, to me, he's still the best back on that team. They got the wide receivers, and we'll see what happens with the quarterback. You never can know.
Then they've got Love in the backfield, too,
You think Cam can ever make his way here?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think.
But you never
And I'm
know.
not saying they're dissatisfied with what they got, but let's talk about it.
You never do know. But that's the type of pressure on a young quarterback that you might not just want to put on him. Don't get me wrong. I think if you're a player at this level, you have to be able to take all pressures because, you get thrown in and you expect to, compete right away and produce right away, as you should, because you're on a roster, you're getting a paycheck, you should be producing right away when you get thrown into those situations. But I don't know right now. He's finally getting the feet underneath him. If they want to bring in that, would kind of set them back a little bit. But
I think it's wide open because I don't think that Ron Rivera is sold on anybody in that position yet. He said that everybody was going to come in and compete. So it's not like Haskin automatically, just because he finished the season as the starting quarterback, that he's going to be the starting quarterback come, OTAs and training camp and all of that. So you got to look at the backup quarterbacks too. Case Keenan is not under contract, and Colt McCoy. So now you got to look for the backup along with your starter.
So what if he's not
and
under
Alex
there?
Smith. I didn't even mention him.
But right now, it's not a personality contest here. It's somebody that can produce. I'm not saying Case cannot, but he did not get the job done. Okay, you got to bring Alex Smith. He want to come back. We don't know. Joe Theismann could never come back from that similar type injury. So you have to look at. That's why I say, can Cam Newton the expectations now, the bar is much higher. The young quarterbacks, they come in and they win games now. Look at last weekend, Lamar Jackson. Thought he was ready for the game. He's not ready for prime time yet, or is his coach, or is his team. So right now, the players you bring in, you're looking for this to be super. You ain't looking for this to be good. You're looking for it to be super.
Do you bring RG3 back?
I like that. RG3 is out there sitting on the bench with Baltimore doing nothing.
Well, I don't think he'll end up in a Redskins uniform.
But I tell you what, he's doing nothing on television. I bet he's helping that young man, though, get his game together.
Yeah.
I've never seen nobody can run like that young man, though. You see how he gets.
Well,
Gail Sayers is the last one I saw
yards,
that.
140
He-
yards.
Oh,
was
man,
the
you see
lead.
that one move where he stopped and let
And
the
he
dude
flipped
fall in
over.
front of it?
He
Reminded me
broke
of
some
G.
backs. He
Better
broke
than
some
me.
backs.
But you know, if you look at it, and we should acquiesce and go on towards our thought process with the playoffs. It's dangerous out there in the playoffs. It's a lot of good teams, and everybody talking about they're changing the quarterback. You're right, but you don't know what you're going to get. I think last weekend was a classic example. You get one quarterback in his second year as a starter, and now they're saying he chokes in big games. You get another one, he get 24 down, and he comes back, but he didn't come back alone. So it's about the quarterbacks, the teams, and everybody. And now you got to win when you're young.
Well, I'm telling you one thing. You look at Tennessee, a team that nobody expected to be in the playoffs, and you look at their running game, who had Derrick Henry has just exploded, Tony. 180 yards in 5 straight games. He had 195 in the game against Baltimore, and the week before against Gary's Patriots, 188.
Oh, you mean Brady, the ones you don't bet against?
188.
Never bet against Brady.
No, but Tony, when you
Let's
look
bet
at
if
him,
he's going to be in New England this year.
exactly. But when you look at Derrick Henry, he's almost like built like a defensive lineman. It's hard to bring him down. He's got the speed. He's quick, and he's the key for that offense. If you can't stop him, you're going to have some problems.
Yeah, but if they do stop him, then who do they go to next? Okay, they got the young man, and he's playing well. Their quarterback they got from Miami.
He all right.
Ryan Tannehill.
Tannehill is okay.
Yeah, he
he's
all
had
right.
a lot of chances. He got a chance now, and I think you have to have the running back to be successful. Now, I haven't seen, and
Their
G, you can
offensive
tell me,
line is
do they
good.
have, I know they got a really good offensive line, but what about their receivers? I haven't seen.
You know, I mean, they truly came out of nowhere, you know. Although I knew they would win.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
why
the
you
reason
chose
why you
right.
picked him. Did you
Wait,
pick
he
him?
can't even,
No.
he can't even look at
No.
himself in the camera and say that. You knew they would win.
I knew
G.
they would win, but my daughter, on the other hand,
Picked again.
Oh,
She picked
blame it on the
again.
daughter.
but I'm back this week picking myself this
So
week.
This week is
It's
mean
all on
something,
me.
huh?
I picked Houston.
What?
For next year.
You know what was really interesting? We talked a lot about those 2-year quarterbacks and how they had progressed, and we thought Lamar Jackson had the best coming out party in the second year. Josh Allen did particularly well, but really at
He didn't
one
throw the
point
ball
he had
well.
more rushing touchdowns than throwing touchdowns. I mean, Lamar is really the only bona fide star to come out of that second year among those quarterbacks.
Oh, Mahomes.
No.
I mean,
no,
Sam
no.
Darnold's good.
Did we forget about Mahomes?
But I think Lamar Jackson is, then that second year, he's got the most potential to be a major
Did
star.
Mahomes come out at the
Come
same
on,
time?
Mahomes.
No,
No, Mahomes was, no, I'm talking about the second
Oh,
year.
the second year. This is Mahomes'
This
third.
is the
Remember,
class.
he sit on the bench.
But he sat on the bench, but really
it's
it's
the
still
second year
his second
play.
year.
This is Josh Allen.
No,
yes,
nobody
that's
can
right.
Oh,
touch
Josh
him.
Allen, no. But at the same time, that was a team loss. I
Yep.
sit here last week and told you, Don, I said, I'm worried about Baltimore because they need a loss. See, they went into that game never trailing in the first quarter, never not scoring in the first half like they couldn't score. And then the coach I tell you what,
They got old coach.
how are you going to go for 4th and 1 twice when you could use 3 points? That would have been 6 points. They'd have been in the game.
They were off for 3 weeks. You rested your players that
That's an
last
excuse.
game. Well, I'm just saying,
Why
3
y'all
weeks.
getting on the coach and everything?
It
now?
was the coach. They
It
didn't
was
make the
the coach. I got-
adjustments.
hey,
Everything
They didn't make the
now.
adjustments.
You know, I don't remember us
You
in
could
91, we weren't behind ever in the first quarter.
When you had Mark Ingram,
We had
Yeah,
the same
but-
amount of time off.
But you didn't get blown out like that.
Exactly. Y'all had a lot more veterans.
But if we'd have
too.
blown out, y'all would have been talking
And then
about
y'all
me
had
just
a
like
team.
y'all talking about
Wait a minute,
them.
right. Oh, wait a
We
minute.
would
We
have
did.
told Mahomes to go fuss at you.
you know, when you saw Mark Ingram come back in the game, there was a dramatic change in that game. I know everybody in the control room doesn't agree with me because they think they had another running back they could have gone to who only ran twice. But when Ingram came in the game, I'm telling you, there was a dramatic change. He got 8 yards on that carry, but then he was back out again.
He's hurt.
They were used to
Hurt.
having him all year long and had planned all around him. And now all of a sudden he's not in the game. I think that threw Lamar.
Okay, let's jump to the NFC. Same thing with Seattle. I'm going to tell you what, Seattle may be the best team in there because Russell Wilson was winning games by himself. But
No running.
during the course of the year, they led the league in rushing.
Yeah.
They led the league in time of possession. Then they got three running backs hurt, 2 out for the year, I think.
They got that cold weather in Green Bay is what it was.
Yeah, that may have
All
did a
you
little
want to
bit
do is
there.
run home. You
I'll
just
tell you
want to
what.
run home.
No, but that running game, but they came back in that game and literally almost won that game. If Russell Wilson had the ball, they just didn't pick up that first down the stretch.
You said almost, is this horseshoes
No,
or
but I'm
football?
saying that they were
You
getting-
close when you get
But
horseshoes.
I'm just saying
they
that
weren't almost winning
They were
nothing.
getting blown out.
I mean, hey, come
But then
on
they
now.
came
It's
back
playoff
to
time.
try to win it at the end.
Your expectations is like your jump shot.
All I know is I like what Mahomes did.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
down
yeah.
21
I like
points.
that too.
And
Look at you jumping on the
No, but let me just say
bandwagon.
this. No, but his receivers, tight ends, were dropping
Thank you,
balls.
but-
And he went over at the break, got in their grill, and they didn't drop the ball anymore. He's a winner because the thing about it is you never saw in his face that they were going to lose that game.
Not only that, I think what was most important about that was he did that, but they made the plays as well.
Made
The team
plays.
made the plays. When you talk about team, that's what you have to have. As we go through these playoffs, you can start looking at the Washington Redskins and what they need to build this team up. You listen to, we talk about quarterbacks important, running games important, but you know what? It all starts up here in the head. We'll be back, hopefully.
You want to at least talk about who's going to be back and who's not going to be back? A little bit more Redskins?
She wanted to move someplace warm.
But he wanted snow for the holidays. So we built a snow globe.
Get that later.
But the one thing we could both agree on was getting Geico to help with our homeowner's insurance.
What?
Switching and saving was really easy.
I love you!
Sweetie, hands off the glass.
Ugh.
Call Geico and see how easy saving on homeowners and condo insurance can be.
I love her!
Four solos, 2 tackles, 2 sacks, a lot of pressure. Dang, we got guys that ain't did that in the whole year. I'm lying now because our defensive tackles are good. I'm going to tell you what. And when we start talking about it, and what we will do, fans, we're going to intertwine this show with what the Redskins need to do versus what teams in the playoffs are doing. They need to make changes. Now, defensive line in the middle, I think they got 3 of the best. That's what the problem is. If one of those was really a good outside rusher, that would be an Ioannidis. I think he could be that, but they need some blade rushers. When I say that, that's people that cut the grass when they come around the edge.
The guys
They
are
need
still
some-
young, too. They're still evolving. Their game is still evolving if you think about it.
Yeah, but their
Because,
3 best players play the same position almost in
but
the
I mean, their
3-man
game
line.
is still evolving. Maybe that change all of a sudden, maybe one of those guys all of a sudden he does become that edge, becomes that edge guy.
I think
you know?
Montez Sweat is big star in the making coming off the edge
Yeah.
next year.
He does well on commercials anyway.
Yeah, he does, and I would.
Especially when they're going to be in the
Hey,
fourth.
G, did you ever get commercials like that when you first walked in the door?
Were there commercials back then?
Not when I first got in.
No.
When he first, but
you know,
he
I left
did.
that open for him to say that. Go ahead.
Initially, I
So
got
you
a
say
Pizza
Sweat.
Hut or
think,
two.
yeah,
you
well,
know?
we've been, Tony, you have to remember this. It was 20 years ago, and I said to you, they have this incredible linebacking core. Why wouldn't the Redskins play a 3-4? And you said to me, and I quote, you don't play a 3-4 in the NFC East. And the last person to implement the 4-3 was Greg Williams, and they were number 8 on defense. They haven't been in the top 10 since Mike Shanahan brought in the 3-4. Now going back to the 4-3, you have the players. You have Montez Sweat. Kerrigan has always been. You always said that he was a hand in the dirt pass rusher.
Not
You've got
good against
him.
the
If you
run.
draft young, then you've got a lot of potential there for a really ferocious pass rush.
I think they're looking at him possibly going to the Colts or somewhere, but I think with Kerrigan, he's a hand in, but as Donna just said, and she lamented that he's not that great on the run and from that position. They got to get some people that can do both, play the run as well as get to the passer. Then when they go to the 3-man line, they need a good 3 linebackers out there. They need them that can run. Look at Carolina's linebackers. Run, hit, everywhere, cover, do all that. You got to have that. And you haven't had a middle linebacker that can do that since Greg Williams implemented the 4-man line. I think the 4-man line is important, but you still got to have that back. Defensive backs. You got to have a
just getting ready to
safety
say that.
that's going to hit
Corner.
somebody. You got to have a quarterback safety back there. You got 2 corners that can take people one-on-one.
You need that
That's
true
what makes
swag
it
to
good.
come in, like where it's true swag, not the fake swag, but the true swag. When your swag comes in, players play with swag because they know they are that good and they can provide the results that they know that they need to provide. That's what's missing. Where I can come in and I can tell you what I'm going to do, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. And I want to tell you what I can do, so I can tell my buddies later that I told them what I was going to do.
You know what? I used to talk a lot of game whenever I got a quarterback. You know, I say I'll be back. You know, that country didn't block you. I tell Bert Jones that he get mad when somebody would be whooping me. I say, "How's your family?" Great job. But I tell you what, when you talk about swag, look at that San Francisco line. Their defense, their whole defense,
Dominant.
their whole team got swag to me.
Dominant. They'll get you up front with the pressure. They'll get you in the secondary. They've got the linebacker core. They got the safeties. They got the corners. They're complete defensive.
But can they stop Aaron?
See,
Yes,
that's
they
the
can.
only thing.
Yes,
But see,
they
Can they
can.
stop
But
Aaron?
you know what?
They
I'm gonna
stopped
remind
him
you
the
of something,
first
Gene.
time.
Can they
I'm
stop
gonna
him
remind-
again?
They stopped him the first time
They
and
don't
the
have no
second time.
kryptonite. They don't have no
will stop him
kryptonite
the
this
second
time around.
Yes, they
Donna,
do.
you both were right on this. They did stop him the first time, and one thing we do know it's hard to beat a team twice in the same year.
You
Number
watch the
2,
comic strips.
Aaron is
Ain't gonna
reminds
happen
me
this time.
when-
Superman don't
when
die.
G and them went to the Super Bowl, they kept talking about, oh, they got the best quarterback in the world out in Denver. They got the best this in Denver, but one man can't beat a team.
They're the
So
three
that's
amigos.
why I
But
look
Tony,
at
what
San
did they say?
Francisco.
Defense wins championships.
Oh, now you gonna jump on
Yeah,
that.
but
The
you
way
know-
you been talking about defense all
Do I have to
day.
bring
No,
back? Do I have to
but
remind
that's
you of the
because this is
quarter?
a defense.
Do I have to remind you of the quarter?
When you get back to the Packers,
Do I have
you
to
know the one
remind you
thing
what happened in
that they
16
have
I bet you San
now
Francisco
that
get
they
them.
didn't. Devontae Adams has developed into a bona fide wide receiver, and you've got Aaron
Yeah.
Jones. They've got a running attack, which he's always suffered from a poor running attack at Green Bay. You've got these components. It's
Yeah.
not going to be a beatdown.
And Aaron Jones had 20 touchdowns this year. But if you look at their receiver core, now this gentleman did have a great game on that day last Sunday. But at the same time, they said that was
You
one
have
of
the
his
great
first.
game when you need it.
Well, he's
That's it.
You have the great
developing.
game
So now,
when you need
can
it.
he
Well, they better
duplicate
need
that?
it.
That's what
Exactly.
they need.
I
They
want to
gonna
get
need 'em
back to
this
your
week.
linebackers because you know what I think you've got next year? I was hearing one of the new incoming coaches talking a little bit about the linebackers. They really like Cole Holcomb because he's fast, and he was a rookie this year. They like him a lot. You've got Reuben Foster coming back, Cole Holcomb, and they really like Ryan Anderson, how he stepped up. He's more aggressive, he's tougher, he's fast.
After he was
they're
set
your
down
three.
at
They're
first.
your 3 linebackers next year: Foster,
But
Holcomb,
look at it
and
more
Anderson.
than that. It's good for them to be fast, but can they fill the hole and can they cover the tight end?
I think those 3 will
Because
do
the
a
tight
great
end
job.
is becoming so prevalent in the game.
Yeah.
If you take a look at Kansas City, if we're not for that
Yeah.
tight end, they would not have been able to get back in the game. You look at the teams now just like the big running back and stuff. They got tight ends. Tight end is becoming very, very valuable now. So you have a middle linebacker that can cover, because that's why I think we went away a few years ago from the four-man line, because we didn't have anybody who could cover the tight ends.
Well, speaking about tight ends, Tony, you talk about Kansas City tight end Travis Kelce. He's the playmaker. I mean, you think about what he did. He had 3 touchdowns. He's the red zone playmaker for Mahomes down the stretch. But he's nursing a hamstring injury right now in the second quarter of that game last week. So I know Gary dealt with hamstring problems all of his career.
And played the whole time.
And played the whole time. So with him having that, and I know he's going to play because he's already said he's going to play, but with the hamstring injuries, how would that affect his game? Because it's hard to cover him. I mean, the linebacker that's going to be covering him in the first game, he's out this week's game. So with that injury, that just a slight, hamstring injury, how does that affect him as far as him pushing off, going upfield, short game? How will they manage that with that? I know they're going to rest
It really
him.
depends on how bad it is. If it's tore, if it's strained, that's one thing. If it's tore, that's a whole other thing where it's actually bleeding and your hamstring is actually bleeding. That's another thing. But typically, back in the day, he'll probably do some type of numbing agent before the game, to numb it so he can't feel it. It's going to rip more during the course of the game. Typically, your quick reactions is what really makes it tear very quickly. But you can tell he's a gamer. He's a player. He's going to come out there and he's going to come and play.
You know what's interesting about that? Adam Thielen was the big guy for Kirk Cousins the week before, but he had a laceration. Somebody stepped on him with a cleat or something, and he had a laceration in his ankle. He said he was fine. He was a non-factor. These kinds of injuries can be deciding factors in games. So I'm switching my picks right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Too late.
I'm backing out of Kansas City.
No, it's too late.
It's
too late.
And
You should have done your
speaking of Kirk
homework.
Cousins, he got a receiver, a tight end on his team named Hollister, and he ain't no pistol either. Because he would make a good play, then he'd make a bad play. He'd drop the ball here, and that's what you need. You talk about tight ends can play hurt. Washington Redskins may have one of the best catching tight ends in the game, but he can't stay on the field. No. He was a quarterback in school, and I'm not downing him or anything, but he still got a quarterback mentality to me. You can't just stay hurt. He's too talented.
Sure
and
is.
they depended on him too much. That's the kind of moves they'll have to make. I like Jordan Reed and everything, but he wasn't on the field long enough. And sooner or later, G will tell you, when you can't be on the field long enough, you don't get a check anymore. It's that simple.
Well, what do you do with Quentin Dunbar, who was a wide receiver, another player who was actually moved over to another position at cornerback, and who has not made it through a season yet?
But he's playing well.
But he's only a nickel back to me. He's a good defensive back. He's learning and everything. But let's keep it real. We need some shutdowns there.
Yeah.
We need him to come in. When we had Vernon Dean there and Darrell Green, I don't know who you guys
Champ
had,
Bailey.
but Champ Bailey, yeah. They shut people down. That's what we haven't seen here in a while. We've always had somebody on this. Now I'm looking at Breland playing.
Yeah.
I always told you guys, I said, he's always close. And you guys say, he got burned anyway. He's going to championship game next week. So what do you guys have to say about that?
He's going to the championship game.
Yeah, but we haven't even seen
Doesn't
it.
necessarily mean, but you know what you can do in the championship game? You can get burned in the championship game.
He just happened to go with the team.
We
where he's
hitting
playing.
teams. Okay, so San Francisco, okay, we know that they're pretty good, but now with Green Bay we're looking at, it's going to be what Aaron Rodgers does, and that's very important. Now, to me, I hate to say it, but that Tennessee team reminds me of '82. John Riggins got hot, and the posse was catching. Not the posse, but at that time,
no, we weren't there.
They weren't there yet.
We weren't there
Part
yet.
of the posse was catching. We even had Art Monk get hurt and Alvin Garrett come in.
None of the posse was there in that Super Bowl.
Right. This team is starting to remind me of that team. Then they got a good coach. He knows how to win. He was in, and you know what I think is happening with Brady and the coach there in New England? They got so many coaches out there that know them now. And those coaches, you can see they got these teams playing the way these guys play. That's going to be a good game. I like Kansas City, but that's a dangerous game.
It is.
It is, but let me say, Tony, come on. Mahomes, they were there last year.
You was
This
all
year-
about the Baltimore quarterback.
No,
all up now.
no, I wasn't.
Mahomes.
Right now.
no.
Mahomes now.
Who knew that?
My homeboy.
Who knew that
I always said
Baltimore was
Kansas City,
going
but
to?
Mahomes.
Who
Well,
knew that that Baltimore was go down? But when you look at Kansas City, this is a team that can score quickly and they can keep scoring. You know that Titans are going to score on Kansas City, but the thing about it is, Kansas City is like the Golden State Warriors. They just keep pounding on you, keep scoring on you, and if they
Wait
score
a
a
minute.
lot more points,
You need to put
you
a
like
date
that.
with that. What you talking? They ain't scoring on nobody this year. Like the Golden State
I'm talking
Warriors.
about the old Golden State.
Oh,
We
go
may-
ahead.
old Golden
Say.
State
Jim,
Warriors.
we may put our sneakers back on.
Now,
Golden
Please
State.
what
don't.
you're forgetting is
I'm talking about the old
with the
Golden State
running back,
Warriors.
with the running back that they have. What if Mahomes can't get on the field because
Well,
I'm
that'll
eating
be
at
the
clock?
only reason. That'll
I'm
be
eating
the
at
only
the
reason.
clock. I'm eating at the clock.
Well, let me
But
ask you
Tony,
Some
something.
of us have start this out.
Do you stack 8 men in a box? And you know that Henry has been
They
dominant
did
in
it
the
to
last
Riggo.
5.
They did it to Riggo.
Well,
What did that do?
I'm just
What
saying.
did that do?
No, they
I'ma
put
tell you
8 in the
what.
box.
Miami did it on that run.
Or
What
do you
did
make,
they do?
or do
They
you make
put 8 in the box on
beat
Riggo.
you?
We got about 30 seconds. I'm going to say this, and I'll complete it on the next.
I'm gonna put
go
you in the
around.
box.
I'm going to put
Just
you
what
back there.
Gary said. They on a roll right now. And
So
you
is
notice
Kansas
how
City.
now everything has changed from all of the people that's announcing the game. A few weeks ago, the passing game was the bomb. Now everybody talking about if you can run the ball. And Henry
Especially the
run
way
that
he's
ball.
running
And I'm
it.
going to tell you what, I saw a couple of people turn down those hits yesterday. Just like this one that I'm about to turn down. Letting Donna get away with talking about Holmes. We'll be back in a moment.
You
Can
know.
you believe that? It's
You
like her
know.
jump shot, non-existent.
It's a
Always
swish.
talked about, never seen. We'll be back in a
Swish.
moment.
No, it's almost like you
So
said.
we hit pretty much
No,
the
but,
playoff game.
but like
We
you
gotta-
just said,
And he's pissed too
if
because
they-
they took
Well,
the,
jump in, man.
the light
I'm
away
trying to
from
get
him.
in.
yeah.
Okay,
But I'm like,
No.
no,
No,
he can't do
change his
that.
picks.
He
No,
can't do that.
That
Oh,
is not happening.
hey, you gonna mess around getting pistol whipped up here on this set.
No, but you're right. If Henry got,
You got black.
I saved hundreds on my car insurance when I switched to Geico, and this is how it made me feel. It was like that feeling when you go to taco night at your favorite restaurant, and they're the best tasting tacos in the entire world. And just when you think it couldn't get any better, they bring you out another taco because they made an extra one.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Well, you know, fans are. I hope that you really enjoying the playoffs like we are, and you know, we got a couple more shows. We got a show next week, and it's going to come down to picks and everything. That's why you're hearing Eric might try to change on air. So disregard anything he said in the prior
I'm
segment.
going to go with Tennessee.
You're not going nowhere unless you leave this set.
You know why?
We gonna bet. Yeah, we talking about who the
Yeah, we
Skins gonna
know.
get rid of. Don't mess
we
around.
know-
Get
we know why.
Hey, don't get a pink slip in your
We
locker
know
when you
why.
leave
Yeah.
here now.
$1,000 I'm going to come up with if I lose is a little steep. But no, in any case, Ryan Tannehill, the rumors that
Now,
floated
who is
around
he? He's the quarterback
after
for.
we drafted RG3. Ryan Tannehill, of course, is Tennessee's quarterback.
Okay, that's
he
what I
went
want the fans
7-3
to
when
know.
they brought him in. I think they were what 2-4 or something up till then with Mariota. But they brought him in. He's 7-3. He has currently has the highest quarterback rating, percentage rating in the NFL at this time. He's very accurate. He had 2 touchdowns when he threw the ball, 13, 14, 15, 16
Yeah, when
times.
you got a running back running almost 200 yards, it
But
ain't a
my
lot
point
you got to do.
is that Mike Shanahan has not been wrong about Kirk Cousins. Now, you have some problems with him, but he is one of the top passers in the NFL currently. He wasn't wrong about him. He said that he was going to be, after, of course, he left the Redskins, he said he'd be a bona fide passer in this league. He also wanted Ryan Tannehill. He was interested in Ryan Tannehill in that draft, and he didn't get his way. They got RG3, but in the 4th round, of course, they got Kirk. So he got something out of that. But he wanted Ryan Tannehill. So Mike Shanahan likes Ryan Tannehill. He's a bona fide winner. And I agree with you. I would not be upset or surprised to see Tennessee win this game.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. If they mess around and let them get ahead 24-0, it's all over.
Yeah.
See, that happened for Kansas City. They were able to come back. But if they get them and they turn Henry loose on there, it's all over. But with that being said, yes, Ryan was very good. He's very good right now for Tennessee, but you got to remember he bombed in Miami.
Sure
He
did.
didn't have a lot of
He was
pieces,
supposed
though.
to be. Oh, he had pieces. They got rid of running backs. Remember the running back that went to Philadelphia that had almost led? He had about 200 games in 1 year. They had different people. They had good receivers out there. Matter of fact, didn't they have the young man that's in Cleveland right now out there, the other receivers? So you had good people, and you got to look back and let's look at these careers. When they got Cousins, everybody kind of knew, okay, they're going with RG3, but they're looking for him to get hurt. And then they got a quarterback that they can kind of, and that's where I always felt like Shanahan and
Looking
his
over your
son.
shoulder.
They had that. They had that. And as soon as they got the opportunity, they worked him right on out of there. I think RG3 can still be leading the team right now. With that being said, yes, Cousins is accurate, but what were they saying, and what are they saying in Baltimore right now? We're a team to get to the playoffs, but we choke. Humphreys, one of their defensive backs, said that. What about Cousins? They're saying when he get to the big game, I mean, you can see the fear in his face on Sunday.
Sure
which
could.
he had a reason to be because that is a great defensive line, but at the same time, they bought him in with that $80 million contract. He's supposed to be standing up there with nobody blocking.
I mean, they got to him a lot. His offensive line caved on him also. He didn't have a lot of time to throw the ball. But like you said, Tony, he struggled in his passing game against a good defense that he had to go up against.
Thank you.
I think it's defenses in these 2 championship games. The reason I say that, when I was just looking at the stats and I was putting each team's stats against the other, there was a demonstrable difference. I mean, it wasn't even close in terms of sacks, getting to the quarterback hits, tackles for a loss. I mean, one team was dominant over the other in every single one of those games. So take a look at the defenses. That's what's going to win these 2 games.
I'm going to say this right on air right now, and I want all of you to mark it. If Mike is correct with this, and defenses are the reason that the playoffs are going the way they're going, the NFC will be Super Bowl champs, one of those teams this year, because both of their defenses, Kansas City doesn't have that great.
No, they're better than they were last year.
They got some pass rushers,
Yeah.
but they don't have no lockdown. They still giving up 400 yards at a pop at some time in game. You look at Tennessee, they make plays, but they're not a consistent defense. Now you look at 49ers on the other side of the ledger, they're the best defense in the game
and
right
you got
now.
Richard Sherman.
Yeah, you know,
And he's playing well
I
after
mean,
the
they got them
Achilles.
people up front,
Front,
too,
the
making
front
Richard
is-
Sherman, who went out with Achilles last year, look like he's still back there playing in Seattle.
And
So, you know,
yeah. And Tannehill, Tony, has struggled. Mike was talking about him coming on. He came in during the course of the season. But when you looked at his game in the first game against Kansas City, he only had 180 some yards. Even in the game that they won in Baltimore, 180 some. So they relied, Tennessee, not on his arm. I mean, he hit some targets, but it's Henry who makes that team go on
Exactly.
offense.
And that's what's going to make it go. And they keep lamenting that on television, saying, what happens when they stop him from running, when nobody's been able to stop him?
No.
Green Bay's going to win this game. You're right, Tony.
No, they're not.
Green Bay got a better defense than Kansas City or Tennessee, but at the same time, Green Bay has some holes in their defense.
Okay.
They got some good pass rushers, but they got one that he's a live wire, and he's one of the Smith brothers. You remember Smith Brothers cough drops?
Oh, I need one of those. But Aaron Rodgers last week in that game did not get the pressure he's going to get this week
Thank
in
you.
that San
there you
Francisco
go. Good
game.
point.
Thank you.
Because
Good point.
he's going to get a lot of pressure. So he's
But that
going to
doesn't
have to.
bother him.
It bothered him the first game.
It's almost worse when he has to scramble around is when he makes some of the best plays ever.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you what. You're right, but I saw something in that game on the weekend that it's more amenable for him to get caught now than it used to be. It used to be a time he could never get caught. He was something like Russell Wilson. Now, look at that ledger. If Seattle would have had a couple of clownies.
But they've been talking about him.
Clownies, the way that boy
They've been talking about him.
And you think he's mad.
They've been talking
so
about
now you done jumped off of Brady's back and you riding.
Now he on Aaron
Rodgers.
All I'm saying, like last year they was talking about Brady. Brady felt like they were disrespected. Like, how you gonna disrespect me?
You're right. You know what? And
He
you
feels
scared
that
me.
The reason why they
And he's been quiet. He's been quiet.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, he has been quiet. And he's not a guy who's ever been quiet.
But you know he got to prove now. They always say he was instrumental in getting rid of the coach in a way. So he got to prove this year that he could take him to that next level, which he already has.
He said that they're learning a
the
new
championship
offense, but they've got the defensive front. They've got the
game.
defensive front that's going to pressure him. Plus those receivers, he doesn't have the targets that he had in past years, and they've got good secondary.
Do.
He has the exact
Until
same
you
stats
It's
do.
going to
last
be the
year.
same results
I
as the week
guarantee you.
when
You know
they got
what? You was
beat
probably
back
on a
in there.
TV show way back when saying that about me.
She was.
You
We
know
had
what?
to stop her.
Saying that about me.
She said that Gary Clark can't
Who
get
know?
open if he ain't.
All I said was Gary Clark, Mahomes need to be like that.
We was talking about Malcolm Barnes.
Look, what-
Malcolm Barnwell.
No, Mark Rippon
But that's
probably
Barnwell
did.
gonna come in.
Mark Rippon
Oh, I
probably did
remember
the
that.
same thing to
I
you
remember
that Mahomes did. Catch the ball
Well,
and
you
stop
know,
dropping.
we're joking, but at the same time, you guys are hitting some very excellent points. And so now what I'm doing with this is looking at team by team. And when you look at, Green Bay has a defense, but their defense is nowhere close. That San Francisco defense is unreal.
Until
Okay, so now
it
going back to
is.
San
But you're right. Now, G has a
Until
point.
it
Nobody
is.
knew who Alvin Garrett was until Art Monk
What?
got hurt.
What?
And then he
Did he
turned
show
into
out?
a
But
superstar.
has San Francisco been consistent all year on their defense?
Yes.
Even better. So that in the end.
Yes.
Another example. Nobody knew who Ricky Sanders was.
Exactly.
Until he showed out. Broke Super Bowl records.
They better do a lot of showing
Jimmy
out.
Smith.
208 or 200
Until he does.
They better do a lot of showing
They
out.
just don't know Timmy now because he don't look the same. That's
all
my
right,
point.
y'all are
though.
bad.
I gotta, man, we're gonna have to get some off-season programs going
Y'all
here.
are bad, boy. Y'all are bad.
He had 204 in the
Oh,
Super
man.
Bowl, and he got 204 on him
You're
now,
bad.
more.
You're
I'm just playing. Timmy, don't you take that personal, man. I'm old. Forget about it. But I'm gonna tell you what, guys. This has been an interesting playoffs. It's been very exciting, and you really
Might have
don't
been one of
know,
the best
and you
playoffs
don't
that
know
we've
to
had
the
in a
end
long
because
time.
all of you have valid points. I can
Anybody.
see
Vegas is
anybody
taking-
winning
Vegas
this
is
game.
taking a hit.
They nervous.
Vegas is
They
taking a
nervous.
I
hit.
think you're right. It's about defenses. So I
It
do
is.
think,
That's
I
what's
think
gonna
it's
come down
San
to.
Francisco wins this. I'm sorry. I'm gonna flip flop back. San Francisco wins this.
Trying to
and,
change his
and
picks again.
Tennessee has
It's
a better
all-
Now,
defense.
see, you haven't been watching the game. Yes, it's about defense, but also San Francisco's quarterback is right the guy that used to be in New York. He's
Jimmy.
very good in the middle of the field. The red zone he's had a little problem with, so now you got to take a look at that. But when Jimmy got that ball in the 20 to 20, he's one of the best. But they got other people to supplement them. Now you look at Kansas City, they're not even playing all the running backs they got. They got running backs on the bench that were
I mean,
Pro Bowl
their
players that came.
offense is a whole nother thing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just explosive.
They
It's
dropping
exciting, it's
balls
explosive,
and-
things get done. I get it. But when it comes down to it, just comes down to this. And Tony, you already know this. It comes down to this one freaking question. Do you believe? As a
There you
player?
go.
Do you believe?
There you go.
Yeah.
Am I going to take the red pill or the green pill? Do you believe?
That was a good one.
Believe.
Y'all been writing the red
No,
pill, not the
do
green
you
pill.
I'm
believe?
taking the
That
yellow
almost like
pill.
your thunder and lightning last week.
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
That's why
I'm
it's
taking
put
the
on my-
caution.
Oh, Tony, talk about the coaches in the playoffs right now. You got San Francisco, Cal Shanahan. What do you see him as far as what he does and what he's been able to do?
I think he has a good resume. I think he kind of messed up Atlanta a couple of years ago. I don't know if because he was leaving, he made a bad decision because there's no way that they should not have won that Super Bowl. I think he's learned from that. His coach, his daddy was a good coach. I look at him. Now, I'll finish the rest of them when we get back and we have to take a break. But the other coaches got good pedigrees too. So what we're telling you fans, Don't miss this.
Do you believe?
Don't miss it. And take the red pill out of the green one. We've been crazy on this show, but it's like the man that jumped off the 8-story building, about the 4th floor. They heard him in the office say, "So far, so good." We'll be back in a minute.
Tony, I told you.
Oh, great presentation, Tim. Could you email me the part about Geico, making it easy to switch and save hundreds?
Oh, yeah, sure.
You don't know my name, do you?
Of course I know your name. I just get you mixed up with the other guy. What's his name? What's your name?
Switch to Geico. You could save 15% or more on car insurance.
Could you just tell me? I want this to be over.
It took several months. We sat down as a committee to talk about exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted the entire community to be engaged. We wanted the members of the Black 14 to learn about who we are now. And then we also wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to strategize how we could best move forward to supporting our current student athletes and students. So it was a lot of planning, faculty, community organizations, various departments around the university. Everyone chipped in, and we had the finale on the field. Very excited.
I'm here with my fellow brothers, you know, Ron Hill, Griffin, Tony, and Guillermo. We all feel the same way. You know, we've been bitter or we've been mad, but right now, the Black 14, the way they were 50 years ago, is gone. The new ones are here now. From now on, we talk positive stuff about the Black 14, and these guys here will be a positive part of it. You know what, Mike, you always, you bring that in, and even to this point, it still just means so much. And I talk to these guys, a lot of them now have other things that's going on in their life. But that meant so much to all of us that they came back, even though it wasn't the actual person that committed the bad portion of this, it still was for them to come back and say, hey, we understand, we're sorry.
And one of the things that was in the hour-long program that aired 2 weeks ago was a little bit of it was I asked all the players individually to walk out on the field again. Of course, you had your Black 14 t-shirts on, then you got your jerseys. I said, just individually walk back out on the field again and just think about what it was like to play on this field. Because it's the same stadium. It's just, they just added an extra deck. Just walk out there and just think about it, what it was like out there, hear the crowds and whatever. You can watch you guys going out there individually, and it is really moving.
And you know, Mike, they gave us 2 standing ovations. We didn't know what to expect, guys. We did have people along the way that you could see they weren't happy about it, but wherever you went in the whole town, it was just like, thank you for coming back, and we want you to know. You know, we went to a basketball game, and they gave us a standing ovation, so very important. But they got to get your T-shirts.
Yes, and we're going to hopefully have them on our final show. We'll all be wearing them. We're going to all pony up for at least whatever it costs, Tony, so we all have one.
Oh, see, now he want to change the pick. Now he's changing the prices on the shirt.
Oh, whatever we can afford to pay, right? Whatever you can afford to pay.
You guys don't never have to pay anything.
If you want to get a Black 14 t-shirt, you can go to the website. There are for both men and women. There's all kinds of different sizes and shapes and types of things that you can wear with jackets and with other clothes. But just go shopping for the black14.net. It's a nonprofit organization. And down the road, Tony, I know what you want to help the whole community, not just the minority community.
We
but
want
the
to
whole
go
community.
out and we want to stuff buses. We want to feed people. We want to do a lot of things. We want to see these T-shirts here. So for my other website, redmagplus.com, go there, and for the first 100 people that tell me they want to get shirts, I'm going to give you some discounts. Now, I don't read it much, so you better go there quick. A lot of them know that.
Yeah, Tony, you know the great thing I want to throw out here about this is that you said when you all went back there, but the great thing is that people who never knew about the Black 14 are getting to know exactly what went on. And also, you were in the Washington Post, so if people want to read about you, they can go to front page. They can, Google the Washington Post Black 14, and you can learn a lot more if you haven't seen them already. And then soon you're going to have it on YouTube where people can kind of like see the whole story.
Donna was the first one to do a report on us about 7 or 8 more years ago on the show. You had some other stuff you wanted to mention.
Well, no, I just wanted to mention that piece.
Don't be taking a lot of time because we want to get these pics in. You ain't going to be changing them either.
No. But that piece that you did with the Washington Post reporter, we're going to be re-airing that next week. So everybody will have an opportunity to see that. It's a really moving piece, about 13 minutes long. The other thing is, one thing that Tony has done now for 35 years, he has, out of his own pocket, he's had a scholarship contest for minority students. And he buys computers, he buys iPads out of his own money, and he provides them to the best essays. So let's take a quick look at this and see how you can enter. Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus Minority Scholarship Essay Contest is underway. This year's topic, if you were a member of the Black 14 in 1969, what would you have done? All minority high school seniors are eligible to enter. Submit essays to redmagplus.com and click Youth Sideline. Special prizes will be awarded to the winners. The deadline's May 1st, so get busy. You can learn more about the Black 14 by going to black14.net or simply Googling the Black 14. This is a subject that we've got to talk about.
The batach.
No, yeah, the batach. And that is, okay, there have been a number of rules changes this year. I don't know if the referees have gotten any better or any worse, but when I asked Adam, I said, Adam, there have been some significant rule changes, especially as it has to do with pass interference. How do you see the officials handling that and the coaches' reactions? And this is what Adam had to say.
Yes, they've gotten better, but the key thing is the pass interference replay. Now that coaches can challenge it, it's become more challenging for officials, but they've adapted accordingly, as usual.
That's a tough one to talk about, I'll tell you. That's
I like that batach. Hey, Adam, how you doing, man? We ain't seen you in a minute. We better get you back on real quick.
Yeah.
If Mike keep acting up, changing picks, don't worry, we got a seat for you. Now, what were you saying?
I think it's time for the picks. What do you guys think?
Well, you know what? Tell them what's going on, Mike. Everybody's tired except for one person.
It's been close. It's been
and
close.
It's going down to the last game. So we might as well do this.
We like the playoffs, right?
Let's talk. We had a good year this year.
Yeah.
And fans, for all of you guys, is one pick between all of us. Mike, Donna, and myself are tied, and Gary's one behind. So this is a big
Doesn't
week
get
right
any
here.
better.
So now let's look at the teams. Tell me who you guys like and why. I don't know how much time we got, but we're going to try to get this in.
Yeah, it's in there. I think I looked at defense, but then again, I agree with Donna. Patrick Mahomes can score so many points. He can catch up on any situation that he finds himself in.
Really.
You've got to go with the Chiefs, and you've got to go with a better defense with San Francisco.
I like that, though.
And you've got to get at least one of Mike Shanahan's former coaches in.
The person that's one behind.
Okay, G.
Well, I did it my way. That's the way I did it.
Wait, now you told your child did it last week.
Well, that child said, you know what? She dropped me down because I led the whole way. Let's be real now. I led the whole way.
First week. I got you the first week.
I led the first week too, Mike. I led every week.
I led before we
So
started.
my daughters picked the last
Doesn't
2
matter
weeks, so
about the
now
beginning.
I had to come back in, and I knew which way you guys were going to go. So I went the opposite.
Yeah, that's the only way you can
I
win.
went the opposite.
He didn't even care about the
know
teams,
what?
Tony.
You know what's dangerous? he did a good job with it because right now with these teams,
did a good job
it's hard to say who's going to win this game.
Can you say upset?
You have to root for
He's a little nervous. But Tony, I looked at the Tennessee and the Kansas City game. That one made me nervous because I was going backwards and forwards. But I want Kansas City to win the whole thing. So that's one reason why I ended up.
Why?
I just wanted a different team to win. I like the Mahomes and that whole offense.
Initially, she was going with Baltimore.
No, I wasn't. Baltimore was my second team that I wanted to win of Kansas City. But I looked at Tennessee, and in that New England game, I started to pick Tennessee because I knew that they would beat Brady them because of their running game, and Brady them wasn't the same
she
team.
knew so much that she didn't pick them.
But I didn't, so I would have been up by one. But I looked at Mahomes and what they can do offensively, and I know that they're going to give up a lot of points. But I still think that maybe them being at home, and if they score quickly and keep Henry off the field, then they could probably win that one. I think they're a better team this time around than the first time around.
I see one of those Rick shug off.
Yeah, the push off. But then I looked at San Francisco, and hands down, I just don't think that Green Bay is going to beat San Francisco because of the defense.
So what does Derrick Henry stand for? DH. What's DH stand for? Designated hitter. He gonna hit a home run.
No, I tell you what, I think it will come down to the defense. Got good offenses in here, and it's always good to score. But whoever can stop the person, that's who's going to win. That's what happened to Baltimore. That's what happened to other teams. I look at whoever has that best defense, which I think is San Francisco, is the team you better watch. But at the same time, you got Henry, who is an offensive player that's defense by himself because he keeps the other team on the bench. So it's wide open right now.
Please don't let him win. We'll never hear it
last. And like he said, if the Green Bay's quarterback mess around and get angry enough, he can win a game by himself. So that's what's so nice about these playoffs. And fans enjoy them because you don't get this every year. And enjoy it this year because after next year when the Redskins are taking over with this and we're here talking about it, we're going to say we told you so.
You're talking about
so you enjoy these playoffs.
Don't let him win because we'll never hear the end of it.
And don't disregard everything Mike said. He's not changing nothing.
No.
We got another show next week. It's a big show. We hope you'll come back and enjoy it. But at the same time, enjoy the football. Enjoy the weekend, but always enjoy your family because that's most important in the minute.